Hello students, welcome to the first lecture of vector. Vector is very important part of physics because in each and every chapter we have different vector quantities and we have to add them and we have to subtract them also. Here addition and subtraction is completely different. Here 1 plus 1 is not 2, right? Here 1 plus 1 can be 0 also, can be 1 also, or can be 2 also, right? So let us start the lecture starting from physical quantities. What are physical quantities? Physical quantities are the quantities which we can measure. Anything that you can measure is physical quantity, right? Like temperature, pressure, length, area, volume, speed, force, anything that you can measure is physical quantity. And physical quantities are divided into three different parts. First is scalar quantity. Scalar quantity is the quantity which provide us only magnitude, like 5 meter. It is a distance. There is no direction, right? 2 meter per second speed. We have 2 meter per second speed. We don't have direction, right? So the quantities which provide us only magnitude are scalar quantities. Second, vector quantity. The quantity which provide us both magnitude and direction, like velocity, 2 meter per second north direction. So 2 meter per second is the magnitude and north is the direction. So the quantities which provide us both magnitude and direction, these quantities are known as vector quantities. Third, tensor quantities. Tensor quantities are those quantities which are neither scalar nor vector, right? So neither scalar nor vector, these quantities are known as tensor quantities. To add scalar quantity, we have to use simple algebraic addition and subtraction, like 2 meter plus 3 meter is equal to 5 meter, right? 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. We have to use simple algebraic addition and subtraction to add scalar quantities, right? Vector quantity. Addition and subtraction by using vector laws. Here we have to learn addition and subtraction again for vectors, because vector addition is not 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Vector addition is according to vector laws. There is role of direction also in vector addition and subtraction, right? We have to learn this. Next, current is a scalar quantity because it do not follow vector addition. Current is having magnitude as well as direction, right? But it is not a vector quantity. The reason is it do not follow vector addition, it follow scalar addition. 2 ampere current plus 2 ampere current is always 4 ampere current, right? So current follow scalar addition, that is why it is a scalar quantity, right? Other examples of scalar quantity: distance is a scalar quantity, speed, temperature, work, area, volume, electric and magnetic flux, potential, large area, pressure. These are scalar quantities, right? They don't have any direction. Current is having a direction, but it is a scalar because it follows scalar addition, right? Vector quantities: displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, momentum, gravitational field, electric field, magnetic and electric moment, torque, impulse, and small area, very small area, or you can say elementary area, is also a vector quantity. We have to discuss it in this chapter, right? And tensor quantities are: stress is an example of tensor quantity. Strain is also example of tensor quantity. Moment of inertia is important example of tensor quantity. We will discuss these quantities in detail, but here we are giving just example of scalar, vector and tensor quantities. Right? Now representation of a vector quantity. A vector is represented by this arrow, or it can be represented with bold letter also. Let us take one example. This is a vector 10 meter east. This east is showing direction and 10 is the magnitude. So this vector quantity have both magnitude as well as direction, right? We can represent this vector with an arrow whose length represents its magnitude, and magnitude is 10 meter. So length of this arrow is representing 10 meter and arrowhead showing the direction of this vector towards east direction, right? So length of arrow tells us magnitude and arrowhead tells us the direction of vector, right? Let us take one more example. 5 meter east. So same direction but length is half 5 meter. Length of arrow will be half of vector A. So the length of arrow is 5 and direction is same, east direction, right? Now some important points related with the vector quantity. When we shift a vector parallelly, vector remain unchanged. So whenever we shift a vector in parallel direction, here or in this direction parallelly, you can shift it anywhere. This vector will not change. Why? Because we are not changing the direction. We are not changing the length also. So as you move in parallel direction, there will be no change in vector quantity. Vector quantity will remain same when we shift a vector parallelly in any direction, right? Second, when vector is rotated by 360 degree angle, if I rotate this vector by 360 degree angle, again the vector will be in the same direction, east. So 360 degree rotation will not change the direction and the length of the arrow will remain same. So here also there will be no change, vector remain unchanged. Third point, when we shift coordinate axis, vector remains same but components may change. Let us suppose these are the three coordinate axes: x-axis, y-axis and z-axis, right? So this is x-axis, y-axis and this is z-axis, right? And this is our vector. So we have three axes: x-axis, y-axis and z-axis, and this is our vector. If we change or if we shift these three axes, right, vector will remain unchanged because its direction is same, its magnitude is same, right? But the components may change. Components we have to discuss it later, but components are the effect of this vector on x, y and z axis. The effect on x, y, z axis may change, but the vector will remain unchanged when we shift the coordinate axis, right? Let us see how to calculate the angle between the two vectors. To find out angle between the two vectors, connect tail to tail or head to head. Whenever you have to find out the angle between the two vectors, you have to connect tail of one vector with the tail of other, or head of one vector with the head of other. Let us see an example. Here we have two vectors, A vector and B vector, and we have to calculate the angle between them. So first thing is we will connect tail to tail. Tail of B is connected with tail of A. So we will shift this vector parallelly here. There will be no change in vector when we shift it parallelly, right? Now both the tails are connected together. Now we have one bigger angle and one smaller angle between the two vectors. Smaller angle is always the angle between the two vectors. So angle between A and B is 60 degree, the smaller one. Now let us see the second way. Second way is connecting head to head. So I am shifting this B vector parallelly to connect with head of A. So if you shift it parallelly like this, it will be in this form, right? Now again there will be two angles. One is bigger angle and other is smaller angle between A and B. Smaller angle is our answer. So angle between A and B is 60 degree. Let us see one more example. This is an equilateral triangle and we have three vectors A, B, C of same length on the sides of an equilateral triangle, right? Now we have to find out angle between A and B. Because it is an equilateral triangle, so this angle is 60 degree, but this is not our answer. They are asking angle between A and B. And you can see head of A is connected with tail of B. But how to calculate angle between the two vectors? By connecting tail to tail or head to head. So I will shift this A vector parallelly to connect tail to tail, right? When you shift this vector parallelly in right direction, then again there will be two angles between A and B. One is bigger angle and other is smaller angle. Smaller angle is our answer. What is the value of smaller angle? This complete angle is 180 degree. This is 60. So remaining angle is 180 minus 60, that is 120. So angle between A and B is 120, right? Similarly, angle between B and C is also 120 degree. Angle between C and A is also 120 degree, right? Next topic is types of vectors. First, equal vectors. Equal vectors are the vectors having same magnitude and same direction, and we write it as A equal to B. That means A is equal to B having same magnitude and same direction. So whenever two vectors are equal, means their magnitudes are same. This modulus sign represent magnitude. Their magnitudes are same, that means same length, and their directions are also same. Second, negative vectors. Negative vectors are vectors having same magnitude but opposite direction. When we write A equal to minus B, this negative sign shows us opposite direction, right? Magnitude wise A and B are equal. Magnitudes are equal. This negative sign shows that their directions are opposite. So A is opposite to B or B is opposite to A, shown by a negative sign. So same magnitude but opposite direction. These vectors are negative vectors, right? And we represent with negative symbol, right? Next, third, coplanar vectors. Vectors are having same plane. So the vectors which are in same plane, and we have three different type of planes. This is x-axis, y-axis, so this plane is xy plane. This is x-axis, z-axis, so this plane is xz plane, and this is y and this is z, so this plane will be yz plane. If these vectors are in xy plane, then we will say it coplanar vectors, right? There are some other vectors like co-initial vector. Co-initial means starting point is same. If all these vectors are starting from the same point, then we can say they are co-initial vectors. These are co-initial vectors because their starting point is same. Next is collinear vectors. Vectors which are along the same line, right? One vector is here and another vector is here. Their magnitude may or may not be equal, but they are on the same line, and these vectors are collinear vectors. Next is parallel vectors. Parallel vectors are those vectors having same or opposite direction. So if two vectors are parallel, their magnitude may or may not be equal. Their direction can be same or opposite. So these two are parallel vectors, right? Next is unit vectors. Unit vectors are vectors whose magnitude is 1 and they are used to represent direction only, right? These vectors are used to represent direction and their magnitude is equal to 1. Let us take one example. We have a vector 10 meter east. 10 is the magnitude, east is the direction, right? It's not a unit vector, right? Its magnitude is 10. If you want to convert it into a unit vector, then what we have to do? We have to make this magnitude equal to 1. So how to make this? This is a unit vector. Unit vector is represented with cap. This cap represents unit vector. So A is a unit vector. How to form a unit vector? Vector divide by its magnitude. If you divide the vector with its magnitude, 10 10 will cancel out. This 10 10 will cancel out. What you will get? 1 meter east. Its magnitude is 1 and it is showing east direction. So A cap is a unit vector whose magnitude is 1 and direction is east. So what is the general formula? General formula is vector divided by its magnitude is a unit vector. So this is a unit vector represented by cap. Its magnitude is 1 and it is showing direction of A vector. If A is showing east, then A cap will also show the same direction, but its magnitude will be equal to 1. Now we have some standard unit vectors along the three important axes x, y and z. These are the three different axes x, y and z, and we have a standard unit vector to represent x-axis. X-axis is represented by I cap unit vector, right? Its magnitude is 1 and its direction is always in the direction of x-axis. Second is j cap. J cap is unit vector along y-axis, right? To represent y-axis, we always use j cap. Third is k cap. K cap is always along z-axis. So to show z-axis, we have to use k cap. If you want to show negative x-axis, then negative x-axis is represented by minus I cap. I told you negative vectors are having opposite direction. So minus I cap is opposite to I cap, that is showing minus x direction, right? Similarly, minus y direction we can represent with minus j cap. Similarly, minus z direction is represented by minus k cap. Right? Let us see some examples. A vector is 5 meter along x-axis. We can write this vector as 5 I cap. Right? I cap is showing x direction. 5 is the magnitude. B vector 10 meter per second along y-axis. So we have to represent y-axis. We will use j cap vector. So 10 j cap. Third is 2 meter per second square, that is acceleration along z-axis. Z-axis is represented by k cap. So you can write 2 magnitude and direction k cap. Right? We don't have to write again and again this line. Directly we can write 2 k cap, unit is meter per second square. Fourth, 6 meter per second, that is velocity along negative x direction. So negative x direction we can represent with minus I cap, right? So directly we can write it as minus 6 I cap instead of writing the complete line, right? Last, 5 Newton, that is force along negative y direction. Along negative y direction, instead of writing this, we can directly write it as minus j cap. So 5 minus j cap is the vector which is along negative y direction and its magnitude is 5, right? Next point is position vector. Position vector is a vector which represents position of a point from origin. Right? What is origin? Origin is intersection point of x, y and z axis. We have three perpendicular axes. This is x axis, this is y axis and this is z axis. Right? Z axis is perpendicular to the plane we are representing here. Right? This is x, y and this is z. And the point of intersection, this point is origin 0, 0, 0. Let us see the position of a fan. Fan is here, right? We have to find out the position of the fan, and the coordinates of the fan is 4, 5, 3. What is the meaning of coordinates? Coordinates means it's x position, this is y position and this is z position. So coordinates tells us the position of the point along x-axis, along y-axis and along z-axis. Right? So to reach fan, we have to cover some distance along x-axis, and that distance will be 4 I cap. What is 4 I cap? 4 I cap is 4 step in x direction, and x direction is represented by I cap unit vector. Right? We have to move some distance along z axis also, and that distance is 3. So we have to move some distance along z, that is 3 step along z axis. Right? K cap unit vector to represent z direction. And we have to move some distance along y axis also. Y coordinate is 5, so distance is 5 j cap. J cap unit vector along y direction. Right? So to reach this fan, we have to cover some distance x, some distance along z, some distance along y direction. Right? So what is the position vector of this fan? The position vector of this fan is represented by r. Right? It tells us position of this fan from origin 0, 0 to the position of fan. Right? So to reach fan, we have to cover some distance along x-axis, so 4i, some distance along z-axis, 3k, some distance along y direction, so it is 5 j cap. So sum of all the three directions is position of the fan. So this position vector of the fan is sum of x displacement, z displacement and y displacement. So you can say it is 4i plus 5j plus 3k. Right? 4 is x coordinate, 5 is y coordinate, 3 is z coordinate, and I cap, j cap, k cap shows the direction of x, y and z direction. Right? So in general, if we have coordinates x, y, z, then how to write the position vector of that point? We can write it as xi plus yj plus zk. Right? So this r vector tells us the position of a point from origin whose coordinates are x, y, z. So in general, this is the position vector whose coordinates are x, y, z. Right? And here we have 4, 5, 3. So position vector will be 4i, 5j plus 3k. Right? Now how to calculate the magnitude of a vector or position vector? We know this is the one end of the vector and this is the other end of the vector. That is 4, 5, 3. Magnitude of the vector means the length of the arrow. So we have to find out the length of the arrow whose one coordinate is 0, 0, 0 and other coordinate is 5, 4, 3. Right? We know the distance formula. What is distance formula? It is x1 minus x2 whole square, y2 minus y1 whole square, z2 minus z1 whole square, where initial position is origin. So all x, y, z coordinates are 0, 0, 0. So what is the magnitude of this length? Right, what is the magnitude of this vector? The magnitude of this vector is this length, and according to distance formula it is 4 square plus 5 square plus 3 square, that is equal to 5 root 2. If the vector is 4i plus 5j plus 3k, then its magnitude will be under root 4 square I component plus 5 square j component plus 3 square k component. Right? So in general, if we have a vector whose value is xi plus yj plus zk, then what will be the magnitude of that vector? Magnitude of the vector will be under root I component square, j component square, k component square. Right? So magnitude of a vector is under root x square plus y square plus z square. Right? And very important point, change in position vector is displacement. What is displacement? Displacement is the shortest distance between the 2 points, initial and final. Right? So whenever you have to find out displacement, displacement is always equal to final position vector minus initial position vector. Let us take a simple example. One mosquito is sitting on the fan, and finally mosquito reaches some table whose position is 5, 2, 1. Right? So we want to calculate what is the displacement of the mosquito. So displacement of the mosquito will be, first we have to calculate the final position of the mosquito. Final position of the mosquito is 5i plus 2j plus 1k. This is the final position and this is the initial position. 4i plus 5j plus 3k. This is initial position, this is final position. So what will be the displacement of the mosquito? Displacement of the mosquito is straight line distance, and that displacement will be final position minus initial position. So R2 minus R1, final position minus initial position, the subtraction will give us displacement. Right? Next, let us see some important conditions. We have to check which one is correct. A vector is equal to scalar. Left side we have a vector in which we have magnitude as well as direction. Right side we have only magnitude. So you can't compare a vector quantity with a scalar quantity because they are completely different. One have magnitude plus direction and the other quantity is having only magnitude. You can't compare it, so first is wrong. Second, addition of a vector with a scalar quantity will give you vector, correct or not? It is incorrect because this is not having any direction and this is having a direction. You can't add or subtract vector and scalar because both are of different type. Third, vector divided by scalar is a vector. Suppose a vector is divided by 2. Right? 2 is a scalar quantity and you can divide it. Let us suppose 10 meter east is divided by 2. We are dividing with magnitude. Then it becomes 5 meter east. Right? This is possible. You can divide or you can multiply a scalar quantity with a vector. Right? Fourth, vector division is not defined. So you can't divide two vectors. You can multiply two vectors. Right? This is possible. This is there in our syllabus. Multiplication of two vectors. Right? So multiplication of two vectors is possible. But division of two vectors will not possible because if two vectors are in different direction, one is in south direction, other is in east direction. So it is not possible to divide them. It is possible to multiply them. We have to see it. Right? So this is correct. This is correct. This is wrong and this is also wrong. Right? Now let us see multiplication of a vector with a scalar quantity. So whenever you multiply a vector with a positive scalar, let us suppose 2. So whenever you multiply with a positive scalar, let us suppose 2. So when you multiply a vector with plus 2, then only magnitude become 2 times. Direction remains same. There will be no change in direction when you multiply a vector quantity with a positive scalar quantity. Only the magnitude will change. Direction will remain unchanged. If it is 3, then magnitude become 3 times. If it is 1 by 2, then magnitude become 1 by 2. Right? If you multiply the same vector with a negative scalar quantity, minus 2, then what will happen? Magnitude is always positive. Magnitude become 2 times. This negative sign will come here. Minus east direction. Means opposite to east. So answer will be west. So 20 meter west. Whenever you multiply negative scalar quantity with a vector, then magnitude will change and direction become opposite. Magnitude become 2 times, direction become west. If it is minus 3, magnitude become 3 times, but direction become west. Because of this negative sign, direction will be opposite. So east become west, right? Next topic is vector addition, and vector addition is also known as the resultant. So here we will calculate resultant of 2 vectors or addition of 2 vectors. And the law is triangle law for addition. When 2 vectors are representing 2 sides of a triangle in same order, then third closing side will represent addition or resultant of 2 vectors. So this is a triangle and these 2 vectors are representing 2 sides in same order, means there should be a path starting from this point to this point, right? So these 2 vectors are in same order, means they are representing the path starting from this point to this point, right? You can assume this point is home, this point is school, this point is college. So here these 2 vectors are representing from home to school, school to college, right? Then according to this law, the third closing side directly from home to college will represent addition of these 2 vectors or resultant of the 2 vectors, right? So addition is directly from the initial point to the final point. These 2 vectors are also providing us same path from home to school and school to college, right? A plus B, and the direct is equivalent to this path. This path is A plus B and this is R. Both are equal because ultimately we are starting from this point and finally we are reaching at this point. So directly home to college is equivalent to this path, that is A plus B, and this is known as resultant, right? Remember, you have to create a path. You have to connect the second vector at the head of first vector, right? Let us find out the resultant or addition of these 2 vectors. First, let us calculate A plus B. So here we will calculate A plus B. So first I will draw A. So first draw A. This is A vector, right? Now connect B. After A we have to connect B to make a path. So I will connect the tail of B in front of A. This is B vector, right? So this is home, school, college. Then the vector directly from home to college will represent A plus B vector or addition or resultant of A plus B, right? Now let us calculate B plus A, right? Let us calculate B plus A. For this we have to draw B vector first. So let us draw the B vector first. This is B vector. First we have to draw B vector. Then we have to connect A to make a path. We will connect A to make a path. So I will connect the tail of A on head of B. So this is A vector, right? And the vector starting from the initial point to final point, home, school, college, directly home to college is representing B plus A. That is resultant, right? And you can see both the vectors are identical. Whether you add A plus B or B plus A, you will get same resultant in same direction with same magnitude. So these two are equal, and this is known as commutative law. So commutative law is when you add A plus B, it is equal to B plus A, right? Now let us see the second law of vector addition, that is parallelogram law. When two adjacent sides of a parallelogram represents two vector, then the diagonal of the parallelogram will represent addition or resultant of the two vectors in magnitude as well as in direction. We have these two vectors, and these two vectors are on the adjacent sides of a parallelogram. Then the resultant will be represented by the diagonal of the parallelogram, right? This law is exactly similar to the triangle law because it is a parallelogram law. So you can say this B vector is exactly similar to this vector, right? So we can say this is also B vector, right? Now it becomes triangle law. A vector plus B vector is equal to resultant. So assume this triangle, right? Here A plus B is equal to the resultant, and that is equal to the third side. So this is a triangle and these are the two sides in same order. Then the third side will represent resultant or addition of the two vectors. You can assume this is the starting point, home, school, college. Then this path is home to school, school to college. That means A plus B. And this path is directly home to college. So this path represents addition of A plus B, right? Now let us calculate the magnitude of the resultant. So let us take the same diagram where theta is the angle between the two. Here theta is angle between the two vectors, and this theta and this theta both are equal, right? Because it is a parallelogram, so these two angles will be equal, right? So we have A vector, B vector, and this resultant. We have to calculate the magnitude of this resultant. What is the magnitude? Magnitude means we have to calculate the length of this arrow, right? And direction of this resultant is alpha with A vector. Now magnitude of the resultant. OS is representing magnitude of the resultant R. OP is representing magnitude of vector A, this OP. And PS is representing the magnitude of B vector. These two are B vector, right? Then in triangle OSQ, in this triangle, if we use Pythagoras theorem, then OS square is equal to SQ square plus OQ square, right? So according to the Pythagoras theorem, OS square is equal to SQ square plus OQ square. What is OQ? OQ we can divide it as OP plus PQ. PQ length is assumed as X, right? So it is A plus X, or you can say OP plus PQ. So OQ can be divided into OP plus PQ, where OP is A and PQ is assumed as X and SQ is assumed as Y, right? Now in triangle PSQ, this triangle, sin theta is perpendicular upon hypotenuse, that means Y divided by B. y divided by v. So what is the value of y? Y will be b sine theta, right? And cos theta is equal to base upon hypotenuse. That means x divided by b. X divided by b. So what is the value of x? It is b cos theta, right? Now we have x and y values. Put these values in this first equation, right? When you put these values in the first equation, y is b sine theta, so it becomes square, and this is a plus x square. That means a plus b cos theta whole square. Now take under root both side and open the square. So this is r is equal to b square sine square theta plus a square plus b square cos square theta plus 2ab cos theta. Now this b square sine square theta plus b square cos square theta, take b square common. Inside there will be sine square plus cos square, that become 1. Final result of addition of the two vectors magnitude is under root a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. This is the final result, and we have to remember this result. Very, very important result, right? And what is the angle of resultant with vector A? Angle of resultant with vector A is alpha. How to calculate the value of alpha? Tan alpha is perpendicular upon base. Take this triangle again. Tan alpha is perpendicular, that is y, upon base. What is base? A plus x. So tan alpha is SQ divided by OQ, where SQ is y, OQ is a plus x, right? So put the values of x and y, you will get tan alpha equal to b sine theta upon a plus b cos theta. You have to remember these two results. Almost in each and every chapter we will use these formulas, right? Now let us see some important points related with vector addition. We know the formula of resultant magnitude. It is under root a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, where theta is the angle between a and b, and tan theta is b sine theta upon a plus b cos theta, where alpha is the angle made by resultant with vector a, right? Now first condition, if theta is 0, that means both the vectors are in same direction, right? Then what is the value of a plus b? In case of theta equal to 0, you have to put cos 0 here. So it become a square plus b square plus 2ab. It become a plus b whole square. Because it is in under root, so finally we will get magnitude of resultant as a plus b, means addition of the two magnitudes. And this is the maximum resultant, and this is maximum possible resultant of two vectors. Means maximum to maximum addition will be a plus b when they are acting in same direction. Now let us take a simple example. There are two forces acting on this person. Both are in same direction. One is 3 Newton and other is 4 Newton, right? If both the forces are in same direction, then angle will be 0 and the resultant of the two vectors will be maximum and equal to a plus b equal to 4 plus 3, 7 Newton, right? Now if two vectors are perpendicular to each other or normal vectors means perpendicular to each other, angle is 90 degree, right? Put this 90 here. So under root a square plus b square plus 0, cos 90 is 0. So what is the resultant? Under root a square plus b square. So resultant of two vectors having 90 degree or normal vectors is under root a square plus b square. Again we are taking two forces, but this time they are perpendicular to each other. So one force 4 Newton, other force 3 Newton. They are perpendicular to each other. So what will be the resultant force acting on the man? It will be under root 4 square plus 3 square, right? That is 5. and it will be in this direction. 5 Newton force between the two forces, right? Third, if the angle between them is 180 degree, 180 degree means opposite vectors. Their directions are opposite. Put this 180 degree here. So cos 180 degree is -1. You have to see basic mathematics first video lecture, right? For this cos 180 degree value. Cos 180 degree is -1. So it becomes -1 under root a square plus b square minus 2ab. That is a minus b whole square. So it will come out from the under root a minus b, right? And it is higher value minus lower value. It represents higher minus lower, right? And it is the minimum possible value of resultant. What is the maximum possible value? It is a plus b. What is the minimum possible value? It is a minus b or higher minus lower. Again, we are taking same forces, 4 Newton and 3 Newton. This time they are opposite. Their angle is 180 degree, right? So resultant of these two forces will be 4 minus 3 because somebody is pulling this person in this direction with force 3 Newton and in right direction with force 4 Newton. Net force on the man will be 4 minus 3, that is 1 Newton and in right direction, right? So we can see here there are two forces, 4 and 3, but here 4 plus 3 is 7, but here 4 plus 3 is 5, here 4 plus 3 is 1 Newton. So in vectors 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2 always, right? It depends on the angles. If you change the angle, then resultant or addition of the two vector will change. So maximum to maximum 3 plus 4 can give us 7. Minimum to minimum 3 plus 4 can give us 1. So addition of 3 plus 4 can be between 1 and 7 and it can be equal to 7 and 1 also, right? So resultant of 3 plus 4 can be 2 Newton also, can be 3 Newton also, can be 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Up to 7, right? Now next, very very important point, when two vectors are having same magnitude, equal to f, right? Their magnitudes are equal. When two vectors of equal magnitude are at 60 degree angle, put 60 here. If you solve it, you will get root 3f. You have to remember it directly. Whenever two vectors of equal magnitude are at 60 degree angle, then their resultant will be exactly in the middle, 30 degree, and the value of the resultant will be root 3f, right? When two vectors of equal magnitude are at 90 degree angle, then their resultant will be exactly in the middle, 45 degree, and its value will be root 2f. Put theta equal to 90 degree, you will get root 2f. If two vectors of equal magnitude are at 120 degree angle, very very important, if they are at 120 degree angle, then their resultant is same equal to the vectors. Put here theta equal to 120 degree, it become cos 60, cos 60 is half, so 2 will cancel out, so resultant is equal to f. So whenever two equal vectors are at 120 degree angle, their resultant is equal to that vector and resultant will be exactly in the middle, 60 degree angle. Got it? Let us see some problems related with vector addition. In first question, we have to find out the relation between A, B and C vector. We have three vectors A, B and C, and R is the midpoint. That means R is the midpoint of this length. So we have to form relation between A vector, B vector and C vector. Let us suppose this vector from P to R is x vector, right? And what will be this vector? because this length is double, direction is same, so it will be 2x vector. Right? This length is half of the total length, so if this is x, then this vector will be 2x. Right? Now let us use triangle law. A vector plus x vector is equal to c vector. Home, school, college, direct home to college. So relation is a vector plus x vector is equal to c vector. A plus x is equal to c. Right? Now a plus 2x is equal to b. Home, school, college, direct home to college. So a plus 2x is equal to b vector. Right? Now replace this x value. X is, we don't need x. X is c minus a. Put it here. So what you will get? You will get a plus 2 into c minus a equal to b vector. Right? Solve it. You will get a vector plus 2c minus 2a is equal to b vector. So here you will get minus a, shift this a to the side, then a plus b equal to 2c is our result. So first answer is correct. Right? Now let us see the second question. Maximum and minimum magnitude of resultant of two vectors p and q are found to be in ratio 3:1. Find the relation between p and q. So maximum and minimum resultant ratio is given to you. What is the maximum value of resultant? It is addition, a plus b or p plus q. Minimum is a minus b or p minus q. This ratio is given to you 3:1. Solve it. After solving it, you will get p equal to 2q relation. Right? Third question. The resultant of two vectors p and q is r. So p plus q is r. If the magnitude of q is doubled, the new resultant become perpendicular to p. Then find out the magnitude of r vector, resultant vector. Right? So p plus q is equal to r according to the first line. So if theta is the angle between them, then resultant will be under root p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. Right? In new condition, it is given to you that if we double q, if we double the value of q, resultant will be perpendicular to p. Right? The new resultant will be perpendicular to p. So here alpha angle is 90 degree. What is alpha? Alpha is the angle made by resultant with a vector or with p vector. Right? So here tan alpha is, this is 90 degree. And the general formula is b sin theta upon a plus b cos theta. Here we have, instead of a and b, we have p and 2q. So b is replaced by 2q. A is replaced by p. Right? And because tan 90 is infinite, so put it equal to infinite. Infinite means denominator is 0. Right? Infinite means denominator is 0. If denominator is 0, that means p plus 2q cos theta is equal to 0. So what is the value of 2q cos theta? It is minus p. Right? 2q cos theta equal to minus p. Now replace this 2q cos theta with minus p. If you replace 2q cos theta with minus p here, you will get minus p square. This minus p square will cancel out with this p square and the resultant magnitude will be equal to q. So q is our answer. Right? Now let us see the third law of vector addition, that is polygon law. If number of vectors are representing sides of a polygon in same order, then the closing side will represent resultant of all the vectors. Means the closing side will tell us the addition of all the vectors. Let us take a simple example. These vectors are in same order. That means they are giving us a path. Starting from this point, then this point, then this point, then this point, then this point. So they are in same order. Then the last closing side, starting from this point to final point. This is the starting point and this is the final point. This closing vector R will be equal to sum of all the vectors A plus B plus C plus D, because A plus B plus C plus D will guide you to this point, right? This R vector is directly guiding you from initial to final point. So this R is equal to sum of A plus B plus C plus D, right? This is polygon law. Very important point. When vectors are making a closed loop in same order, then their resultant is always equal to 0. That means their addition is always equal to 0. So let us take one example, A plus B plus C plus D. These vectors are forming a closed loop. Starting from this point, again they will guide you to this point, right? And according to polygon law, last closing side starting from initial point to final point is the resultant. So we can say this is the resultant of A plus B plus C, right? This is the resultant, and that is equal to R. Direction wise, R and D is in opposite direction, they are opposite. So you can say R and D, they are negative vectors, opposite direction, equal magnitude, right? So what is R resultant? It's A plus B plus C. So A plus B plus C is equal to resultant R. Now shift this R to the left side, it becomes minus R, right? Minus R I can replace with D. Where is D vector? D vector is in this direction. And if you reverse the R, then it is also in the same direction with same magnitude. You can replace this minus R with D vector. That means A plus B plus C plus D will be equal to 0, because we are starting from this point. After A, B, C and again D, we will reach the same point. So net effect is 0, or resultant or sum is equal to 0, right? Next point. If three vectors are making 0 resultant or equilibrium condition, means the net effect is 0 or the sum of the three vectors is equal to 0, then the below condition is always true. So we have three vectors A, B, C and their sum is equal to 0. If you shift the third one to the right side, then it becomes A plus B equal to minus C. So here minus C is equal to vector sum of A plus B. And vector sum can go maximum to maximum up to A plus B, minimum to minimum up to A minus B. So the condition is, whenever three vector is giving us 0 resultant, then third vector should be less than or equal to the sum of magnitudes of the two vectors, and it should be greater than or equal to the difference in magnitudes of the two vectors, right? This condition is very important whenever the net resultant is equal to 0. Let us check one question related with this. Which of the following sets of forces can give us 0 resultant? So first is 3, 5 and 10. We have to check it that this can give us 0 resultant or not. So I am taking this is C, I am taking A, B and this is C. So C is 10, right? A plus B will be 8. And here the condition is A plus B should be greater than or equal to C, but here C is more, so first is wrong. It's not possible to get 0 resultant by using these three vectors, right? Let us check the second one. Again, this is C, this is B, this is A. So let us write C, 12. What is the sum? Sum is 11. Again, sum is less than third vector. So This is also incorrect. Let us check the next one. 3, 6 and 5. It is 5. Third vector is 5. Sum is 8. So this condition is true. Let us check the subtraction also. Subtraction higher minus lower or magnitude. It is equal to 3. So this is satisfying our condition. So this is our answer. Let us check the fourth one also. Third vector is 1. What is the sum? Sum is 13. And 13 is more than 1, right? What is the subtraction? Higher minus lower. 8 minus 5. 3. So here subtraction is more than C. That means this is also incorrect. Right? Now there are some important conditions. Minimum number of vectors or forces which give us zero resultant. So there are two minimum number which can give us zero resultant. Let us take a simple example. 2 Newton, 2 Newton. It will give us zero resultant. Why? Because this 2 and this 2 will cancel out. So we need minimum 2 vectors or forces to give us zero resultant. Second, minimum number of unequal. They are saying unequal. Here their magnitudes are equal. So unequal forces are 3. Let us understand with the example. I am taking 3 unequal forces. 3 Newton, 4 Newton and 5 Newton. All are unequal in magnitude. Right? What is the resultant of 3 and 4? They are at 90 degree. So resultant is under root 3 square plus 4 square, that is 5 Newton. So if you replace these two with 5, this 5 will cancel out with the third vector 5. Because third vector 5 is exactly opposite to the resultant of 3 and 4. So we will get zero resultant. Minimum unequal forces required is 3 to get zero resultant. Minimum number of non-coplanar forces which give us zero resultant is 4. Non-coplanar means they are not in same plane. Let us take this example. These are 4 vectors which are non-coplanar. Right? These 3 are coplanar. Right? They are in same plane. 3, 4 and 5. They are in same plane. These are non-coplanar vectors. Right? A, B, C and D. Right? A and B can give resultant in the middle of A and B. Right? C and D can give us resultant in the middle of C and D. So there is a possible case that resultant of A plus B here can cancel out resultant of C and D in this direction. So resultant of A plus B can cancel out resultant of C plus D. So there are minimum 4 non-coplanar forces required to give zero resultant. If n equal forces are at angle 2 pi by n with each other, then their resultant is always equal to 0. This is very important condition. If we take 2 equal vectors, that means I am taking n equal to 2 at an angle 2 pi by 2, because our n is 2, so 2 pi by 2, that means pi means 180 degree. If 2 equal vectors are at 180 degree, then their resultant is 0. Similarly, if you take 3 equal vectors, then n equal to 3 and the angle between them is 2 pi by 3, 120 degree, then again their resultant will be equal to 0 due to symmetry. Then n will be equal to 4 and they will be at angle 2 pi by 4, that means pi by 2. If you take 4 equal vectors, then the angle between them will be pi by 2, 90, 90, 90, 90. So these vectors will again cancel out each other because they are opposite to each other. Right? So in that case also resultant will be 0. So you can say due to symmetry, the resultant of n equal vectors which are at 2 pi by n angle is always equal to 0. Right? Now let us start subtraction of two vectors. Subtraction of two vectors is nothing, just addition of a vector with negative of other vector, right? In subtraction we will do addition, but addition of a vector with negative of the other vector. Let us suppose we have two vectors a and b. So subtraction is a minus b, right? A minus b, we can write it as a plus of minus b. So what we will do here, we will add minus b in a, right? Where is minus b? Opposite to b, negative vectors, right? So let us take one example. Suppose this is a, this is b. So a plus b, this is the resultant, addition of the two vectors. So this is home, school, college. This will show you the resultant or addition of the two vectors directly from initial point to final point, right? Now we have to calculate subtraction of the two vectors. So we have to add minus b in a. This is b. Where will be the direction of minus b? Opposite, right? So minus b will be in opposite direction. So this is a. Then we have to add minus b, that is in downward direction, right? So this is our initial point. This is the final point. So this is the new path. So home, school, college, right? This is the new path because we are doing a plus minus b, right? So this is the initial point, this is the final point. This will represent the subtraction of the two vectors. Addition of a vector with negative of the other vector, right? So this represents subtraction of two vectors a and b, a minus b, right? Let us take one more example. Here we have a and b, two vectors. They are perpendicular, right? We have to find out a minus b and b minus a. Let us first calculate a minus b. A minus b will be a plus of minus b, right? So we have to connect minus b in front of a. So a is this. Now b is in downward direction, but we have to connect minus b. Minus b will be in opposite direction, upward. So after a, we will connect minus b. This is direction of b, downward, and minus b will be upward. So this is home, school, college. So this path, home, school, college, or directly from home to college, is the subtraction of these two, right? So a minus b is represented by this vector, right? Now let us calculate b minus a. So it is b plus of minus a. Now we have to add minus a in front of b. So this is b vector. Now we have to connect minus a. Where is minus a? Opposite. So we will connect minus a after b. So after b, connect minus a. So this is the starting point, this is the ending point. Home, school, college, or directly home to college. So this will tell us b minus a, right? This is a minus b and this is b minus a. You can see these are opposite in direction. So they are not equal here. A minus b is not equal to b minus a. That means vector subtraction do not obey commutative law, right? And the value of a minus b is equal to minus of b minus a. So they are negative vectors. Opposite direction, same magnitude, right? Now let us calculate the magnitude of subtraction. We have two vectors a and b and angle between them is theta. How to calculate angle? By connecting tail to tail. This is a vector. We will shift it parallelly to find out the angle between a and b. Angle between a and b is theta, right? It is given to you. So what is the addition formula? It is under root a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. But here we have to calculate subtraction. Subtraction is nothing, just addition of a vector with negative of second vector, right? So we have to calculate a minus b. We will calculate minus b. So this is minus b, right? So this is a and this is minus b. This is subtraction, a minus b. So we have to add a and minus b. What is the angle between a and minus b? Theta is the angle between a and b. But what we are adding? We are adding a and minus b. So we have to calculate angle between a and minus b because we are doing addition of a and minus b. So this is a and this is b, right? This angle is theta, the remaining angle is 90 minus theta. So angle between a and minus b is 180 minus theta, and put this value in addition formula. Formula is under root a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, but here angle between a and minus b is 180 minus theta, so put it here. 180 minus theta is in second quadrant, so it will be minus cos theta, minus will come here. This is the formula of magnitude of subtraction of two vectors, under root a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta. Right? In addition, it is plus ab cos theta, but in subtraction, it will be minus ab cos theta. Theta is angle between a and b. Right? So what is the value of alpha? Alpha will be b sine 180 minus theta, a plus b cos 180 minus theta, because here angle is not theta, angle between a and minus b is 180 minus theta. So you have to replace everywhere, right? 180 minus theta, second quadrant, sine is positive, so it become b sine theta. Divide by 1 plus cos 180 minus theta is minus cos theta, so it become b sine theta upon a minus b cos theta. Right? This is the angle made by resultant of subtraction vector with a vector. Right? Now, very, very important point. When two vectors are having same magnitude, a vector and b vector both are having same magnitude, you can take it as f or you can take it as v. I am taking v. Right? Both the magnitudes are equal to v. V can be velocity. So a minus b is, put the value of v in this formula. It will be v square plus v square minus 2v square cos theta. Right? Take 2v square common. So 2v square is common. 1 minus cos theta, you can write it as 2 sine square theta by 2 from half angle formula covered in lecture number 1 basic mathematics. So it is 2 sine square theta by 2. Outside we will get 2v sine theta by 2. So this is the subtraction of two vectors when their magnitudes are equal, or you can remember 2f sine theta by 2, right? Whereas in addition it is 2f cos theta by 2, but in subtraction it is 2f sine theta by 2, right? This is the application of this subtraction. When a particle is moving on a circle with constant speed, right? When this particle is moving on a circle with constant speed and it is covering theta angle at the center, then find out the change in velocity. The angle between the two velocities is theta. This is v1, this is v1, this is v2. Angle between these two is theta and the magnitudes are same. Then directly you can use this method 2v sine theta by 2, where v is here u, magnitude is u, so our answer is 2u sine theta by 2, that is the change in velocity. Velocity is a vector quantity, so you can calculate by using this formula, that is 2u sine theta by 2, right? Now let us see some problems. If a plus b magnitude is equal to a minus b magnitude, then find out the angle between a and b. So here magnitudes are equal, right? So what is the magnitude of a plus b? It is under root a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. What is the magnitude of subtraction? Under root a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta, right? Squaring both sides, and this a square will cancel out with this a square, b square will cancel out with this b square, right? Move this minus 2ab cos theta left hand side, we will get 4ab cos theta equal to 0. A is non-zero, B is non-zero, so only cos theta will be equal to 0. If cos theta is equal to 0, that means theta is 90 degree, right? Next, if a plus b vector is equal to a minus b vector, here we are comparing magnitudes and here they are saying vectors are equal, then which one is correct? So if vectors are equal, first is saying a equal to 0, second is saying b equal to 0, third is saying a is perpendicular to b. If we put this condition a is perpendicular to b, then this is a plus b and this is a minus b. They are not equal because their directions are different. Here they are comparing magnitudes, right? Directions may be different, but magnitudes are equal. But here they are saying with magnitude and direction both are equal, right? So that is not possible when a and b are 90 degree. Vectors are not equal, right? Now do one thing, move this a this side, a and a will cancel out. Move minus b this side, you will get 2b is equal to 0, so b is equal to 0, right? This condition is possible only when b vector is 0, because when b vector is 0, then a plus b is also a minus b is also a. Then only we will get equal vectors. Magnitudes may be equal if their angle is 90 degree. So these two magnitudes may be equal, right? But vectors are not equal because of different direction. Next, if sum of two unit vectors is also a vector of unit magnitude, the magnitude of difference of the two unit vectors is, so sum of unit vector is also a unit vector. First of all, both are having same magnitude 1 and resultant is also having same magnitude 1, right? So a vector plus b vector is equal to r vector. A and b are unit vectors. R is also unit vector. So according to the formula of addition, under root a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. Theta is angle between the two unit vectors. So magnitude of resultant is 1. 1 is equal to under root 1 square plus 1 square plus 2 into 1 cos theta, right? So if you solve this, you will get cos theta equal to minus half. Cos theta minus half, theta will be 120 degree. And this point we already covered in addition of two vectors. Whenever two equal vectors are at 120 degree, then their resultant is also same. Here two vectors are having magnitude 1 and 1. Resultant is also having 1. So directly you can say angle is 120 degree. Right? Now what we have to calculate? We have to find out the subtraction. So this is a unit vector, this is also a unit vector. So under root a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta for subtraction. So put the value of a and b, both are unit vector. So under root 1 square plus 1 square minus 2 into 1 cos theta. Cos theta directly we know it is minus half. Put the value of cos theta minus half and solve it. You will get root 3. So our answer is root 3. Right?